Yeah. What's up? Vanakkam, namaste, and namaskaram to all the people. This is your boy Tony Sebastian, a.k.a. Tony Psycho, and let me welcome you all to the Offstage Podcast. And we are back again with another episode. And our today's guest is a favorite feature to most of the rappers out there. From his looks, you can call him Young Bappi. Bombay ka khara sona, bole to kon. Ladies and gentlemen, homies and shorties, make some noise for my man, Shah Rule.
Yo,
What's up, bro? What's
thank
good?
you,
What's
thank
good?
you for having me, my brother.
Yo,
Appreciate
we
it.
really appreciate you for taking your time and coming out to the
No,
show.
wanted to, definitely,
Bro,
always.
tell me how you're feeling, man.
Good, bro. Feeling good. Glad I'm part of this this new movement of bringing more conversation to what we're doing to our hip hop culture in India, and especially for this city, for Bombay, for what we rep. I think it's great that we're the conversation is starting, and it's more than just the music. It's more than just the shows. That a conversation is starting, and you are the right person. You are an OG of this city.
Bro, of course, like you have also contributed a lot to the Mumbai hip hop scene. So
Yeah.
it's a must that we also bring you on the show and
Of course.
we get
I
to know
appreciate it,
a
man.
different perspective from you.
Yes, sir.
So let's go with the first question of
Yes.
our podcast today. So you have a dual personality, bro. Rahul Shahani and
Yes.
and Shah Rule.
I'm a Gemini as well, so it
Oh.
goes with.
So, bro, yeah, let me talk to me about your different personalities, bro. Because
Yeah.
I've also checked out your previous music that you have put out,
Yeah.
and we see a different
Oh, for
Shah
sure.
Rule in
For
the
sure,
past,
for
and
sure.
from what he is right now. So
Yeah.
I want to know what is the difference between your both these personalities.
Yeah, I think for me, I was always a shy kid growing up. Like I never, I was very quiet in school. I made friends, but really when I started expressing myself was when I got on stage.
Mhm.
And I think Shah Rule is the guy on stage. Shah Rule is the guy in the studio who's able to project and express himself. Rahul is a very funny person and jokes around a lot and all that. But then the kind of the warrior in me, the warrior spirit, and like the hungry guy who's wants to grind and make something of himself and find success, especially in something that I feel super passionate about. Like I've always been into music. I was playing the guitar before I rapped. I was in a choir. I used to sing before I rapped. But when I found hip hop, it just I found like this calling. And I remember I've said this story like many times. Like I was on a school bus and I heard some kids rapping.
Mhm.
And they had showed like a song they had made on their, over the weekend, and they were showing everyone. And I was sitting 2 rows back and thinking, man, fuck these guys. I can make a 10 times better song. And I had never written a song in my life. But that day I wrote a song on the way home, from school. And I literally put down the pen and I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. This is when that was like when I was 11 or 12. And I've not looked back. I've never had like a doubt. I've always I used to tell my friends, yo, I'm not coming back to school after the summer. I'm going to get signed by Jay-Z. That was my delusional, thinking. And obviously that changes. But yeah, I think that's where the Shah Rule thing comes from, just, being super driven and having that delusional, in a good way, that delusional belief that, you're good at what you do and you're constantly getting better and you're striving to get better. Yeah.
You're speaking about your young days of getting into hip hop. Like I saw this video you rapping
Yeah.
in a hall or something, and there are girls walking by
Yeah.
you, and you were just like that
Yeah.
man of the hour and like rapping
Gang.
over there. So yeah, man, it is like pretty much we can see that young Shah over there
Yeah.
and like kicking it amongst the girls.
Yes, sir.
And like you have been a hot boy since then, I guess.
Women run the world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to pay respect to all the women. This was when I was living in Russia.
Mhm.
And my parents they were super supportive of me, and literally because my dad also steered, being a businessman, he steered me in the direction of no one's gonna listen to you, to your raps. You should make songs for companies, for brands, because that's where the money is. And it's literally foreshadowed like where the most money comes from today for a lot of us, with brands. So from when I was a kid, I was making songs for all my dad's friends' brands, and it started with his brand, and it actually taught me how to be able to write about any topic, and it was like a challenge, like for me. He used to use reverse psychology on me, like, oh, you can't make a song about this company, I because I just 13-year-old kid, you want to rap about stupid shit, like
But I think the business was in the blood.
For sure, being a Sindhi, business is always in the blood.
Yo, man, talking about your early life,
Yeah.
Hong Kong to Moscow
Yeah.
to London, London
Yes.
to Mumbai. You have been fly like a flamingo, bro. You have been
Yes,
migrating across the world. So, like, talk to me about that, bro. You
Yeah.
have been traveling to so many places. So there is a variation of culture in every place
For
that
sure.
you go. So
For sure.
how difficult was it for you to adapt to every
Yeah.
place you go and continue with this hip hop thing that you're doing?
I can't say it was difficult, because I think more of a blessing. The fact that my parents, my dad's business was in multiple countries, and I got to witness and feel different cultures and learn about different cultures. Like Russia, Moscow is such a vibrant, like so much culture within that city. Whether it was the history of it, and even the nightlife. That's where I got to know about nightlife, and the nightlife was so crazy over there. So I remember my eyes sparkling and seeing, massive DJs come and perform there, from all over the world and stuff. And just seeing what, showmanship was like, understanding what goes into a show. And then moving to London, I was in boarding school, and I was surrounded by older students who taught me who KRS-One was, or Tribe Called Quest. I'd wake up early in the morning, I could hear my neighbor playing KRS-One, and I'd be like, who's that? Up until then, I was only listening to 50 Cent, Eminem, in the 2000s. But when I got older and the older students put me on, that's when I feel like, okay, the fascination of hip hop was already there, and I was obsessed with it. But then that's when I started, brushing up on my pen, because I started learning from Jay-Z, from Biggie, from Tribe Called Quest, from everyone, in the golden era and before. And boarding school, being around so many students from different walks of life, I got to, learn from other people's music taste as well. And I think from every stage of my life, it was just learning and grabbing all the knowledge I could. Even when I got out of high school and I was studying music, I was studying performance, and I was studying audio engineering. Like, I came as a rapper to an audio engineering school. There was so many guys there to just be audio engineers and mix engineers. But I came with, I want to learn how to use every mic. I want to learn how to make all my music like better and stuff. So I think I've always had this like hunger for knowledge, especially within what I want to do. Like in school, I wasn't the greatest like with grades and stuff. But when it came to everything else, like music wise, I was just super hungry, making freestyles every day after school, trying to shoot videos, till today. We're trying to figure this out, like constantly learning. And I think no matter what, everyone has different paths, right? I feel blessed to have that global background, but I think just that hunger for knowledge and being driven, like I feel blessed to have that fire inside me that has surpassed me that has stayed with me since I was 13. That I want to do this. This is my dream. I've seen rappers and singers and producers that I'm super inspired of, and that's given me that fire, to chase after that. Yeah.
So basically, when most of rappers started off in India, everyone had a common problem. The parents are not supportive. The family is not supportive. The community is not supportive. But then you have this fire inside you that you want to do this and everything. Yeah. But in your case, your parents were pretty much supportive to you. But as an Indian, do you had any difficulty or obstacle getting with the community that is outside India, and you are representing as an Indian over there doing hip hop? So did you have any difficult time adjusting or getting up with the people over there?
Oh, for sure. Because I grew up going to American schools where my teachers were American. Most of my students around me were American expat students. So naturally, my accent had a little bit of an American twang with it. And being like they call it a third culture kid, like someone who's lived in a bunch of different international cities and gone to international schools, your accent tends to, twist towards the person you're speaking to. So like at home, even though my parents barely spoke Hindi to me, they spoke in English, my Indian accent would come out. But then when I'm in school, I'm also influenced by hip hop and stuff, so my accent would change a little bit. So whenever I rapped, I've always had that a little bit of American twang on it. And in the UK, people didn't like that. People didn't understand that because in the UK, everyone there was always this thing for UK rappers to stand for what the UK stands for, and there's this big thing between UK and the US. A lot of the rappers and the grime artists really push and like represent for the UK. And when I used to go to like these talent contests, and these would be talent contests in like Brixton, which is like the hood in the UK. Like I was staying in one of the most dangerous areas. It's called Ladbroke Grove, which was like that was where one of my college dorm was, and these are where like all these different open mic nights I used to go to and stuff. I would get judged, but I knew like when I started rapping, people would fuck with it and people would respect it. But then I would just have a few people say, but your accent's a little weird, or your name is a little weird. Like, but where are you from though? And it was always a thing like that. And even with the Indians and the Asians, Indians are classified as Asians, British Asians in the UK. I felt like there was a glass ceiling. Like, speaking openly, like I feel like when I came here, I saw people who were so hungry, and not to say people who weren't hungry like and driven over there, like, but I just saw a different sense of like hunger amongst the musicians here. I feel like in the UK, because like one of the biggest things you can do as a British Asian artist is reach the British Asian network, like the BBC Asian Asian network. And I appreciated the spotlight that they gave. But other than that, like there was not much like touring routes as a British Asian rapper. You were doing melas, where it was just family crowds, or you were performing at certain pubs and for not a lot of money. Like I used to do free gigs, pubs every weekend with me and just a guitarist. You know what I mean? Because there wasn't that many clubs giving us opportunities like that, and I tried my best out there, but I saw that the glass ceiling for me at least was I tried with the music. I tried putting on my own shows, and it would cost a lot of money because London is London and it's expensive. But I do think Indians do have a hard time breaking in anywhere outside India, because obviously racism is a big thing.
Yeah, bro.
Truly, racism is a big thing, and it may not be up in your face, but it'll be behind your back, and you'll witness it in different places.
It exists somewhere.
Somewhere or the other, it'll always exist, and I think like it doesn't need all that light. The negativity doesn't need the light, but I feel like things are changing. I definitely wanted to come to India to reconnect with my roots. Especially with Bombay, I always grew up coming to Bandra and visiting Bombay, and I never felt that full connection until I finally moved here. And they always say you have to make it from your hometown. You know what I mean?
Man.
And I never felt fully comfortable in London, even though I lived there for so long. I never felt comfortable in my skin over there. Once I reached Bombay, and guys like you and people in the scene accepted me, because you have to put in the effort. You have to contribute to what we're doing here. And I felt like once I did start, and once we all started growing together, I found a community, found a family, which really like everyone strives for greatness, which I appreciate. So I love Bombay for that. I love Mumbai for that. That it gave me identity. I was able to find myself here.
So, bro, but when you came to Mumbai or India, what was the kind of acceptance from all the kind of people, like from the artist? I understand. So there's a lot of NRI artists who have come to India and who have made great hits and who have contributed to the music industry in India. But what was the response from the audience that when you came and started putting out songs? Because most of your songs were in the beginning, it was only in English.
Yes, yeah,
And
agreed.
I think at that point of time, the regional rap was kind of
over.
picking up over here in India. So how did you manage with that?
Yeah,
Like coping up with the audience over here.
I think it definitely took time. Like I really had to just be consistent with the releases and stuff. And I think the most important thing with anyone entering any industry, you have to network like crazy, and you really have to be seen. Like the phrase "out of sight, out of mind." I truly feel like in this city, in Mumbai, you need to be out there constantly meeting people. People need to see you being active, doing stuff. So I kind of took it head on, like, I'm going to go everywhere with tons of chains and be myself and, really go out there and rep that I'm here to, make a name for myself. And I think because the scene, like people who were here back then, who were working on music and stuff, the scene was very small at the time. Like there was a few venues that you could go to and meet everyone, whether it was like a iBar or a Habitat or a Car Social, we'd all bump into each other there. And as long as you presented yourself with positivity, which I think everyone was on, because everyone was trying to figure themselves out and stuff. So I think it was just about making that effort and putting in, the work, for the music. And for me, I always started with, being on stage. Like I love performing. So I just said, I need a gig every week. Whether I was getting paid 2K, 5K, 10K, for free, paying for a photographer so I can get more gigs, and build a show reel and stuff. That was like my main concern. Like I wanted to perform every weekend, and whether it was me just emceeing with a DJ, which was mostly what we got back then in 2015. You were just I would MC with DJ Shani, Bobcat, DJ Yuri, DJ Proof, DJ Sa, all these guys. Like shout out to them. They were the real stars in 2015, right?
Truly.
They were the real stars in the 10 years ago. They ran they put on for hip hop in Mumbai and in India. So I had to go through that route, and I think I can definitely say like certain people.
Before people showed up to a rapper show, they used to come to all these hip hop nights and everything.
Facts.
Played by these guys.
And that's where we all met each other. Like I met Divine in iBar in Bandra. I met DJ Proof and all these guys, at Sa's Blue Frog nights and stuff like that. So I think that's where, at least for Bombay hip hop, for Mumbai hip hop, it started in those nights for me. Like
that's where the communication began, and people
100%.
started to do get together and do a lot of stuff from there.
That's how I met D-Evil, met a lot of these guys, Encore, and I think that's when, obviously you guys, the whole Mumbai hip hop community has been, stems way further back with cyphers and the battle leagues and the Orkut stuff as well. There's all that as well. But I guess from my entry, it was through the hip hop nights that were going on. So shout out to all the DJs, man.
Respect, man. Respect to all the DJs. Yeah. Speaking about your time in London, bro.
Yeah.
I want to know how this thing happened. You dropping bars in front of KRS-One.
Yeah.
A lot of that video was viral and it went through a lot of plays.
Yeah.
But people, I want to know, how did that thing happen?
Yeah. So, man, London, you are blessed with gigs every week. Like every week, there's one website where you would see every hip hop gig, and I would save up all my money. Like all my money would go to that. It would literally just go into hip hop gigs. And luckily, I lived in East London, where it was certain venues at the time, unless you were seeing a Drake at the O2 Arena, and then you would spend a lot of money. But certain smaller venues, you would see a Pusha T for like 1,500 rupees. You would see a KRS-One for like 1,000 rupees. Like it was that good, It was worth like going to see like that. For London standards, that's very cheap. London is very expensive in that way. But I remember going to many KRS-One concerts, and I remember once he does this thing where he signs tennis balls. He signs 50 tennis balls and he throws them out in the crowd. And I just thought that was so cool, because for me, I throw out my caps in the crowd. One or two caps I throw out in my crowd. but he literally would sign 50 tennis balls at night and throw them out in the crowd because it's like you're getting something from a legend.
Yeah.
And he jumped out in the crowd. He started a b-boy circle. People are doing their thing. Then he's like, I'm going to go to the corner and start signing things. I just took off my cap and like threw it at him. It was a New York cap. He signed it. That was one of the first times I see him. Second time, there was a meet and greet thing that happened after. So if you bought his album at the merch table and spend like an extra 10 pounds, an extra $1,000, you would, get to go backstage and meet him for like 2 minutes. So I was with a group of people. We went inside, and right away, I told my friend who was with me, I said, listen, I'm going to try and rap for KRS, so just have your phone ready. And right away, when he walked in, he was super warm to everyone. And he says, guys, who's the DJ here? Let me do a drop for you. Let me do a shout out for you. You know what I mean? So right away, I think he already knows that people are going to come and, try and, do that sort of thing. Right away, I was like, yo, I want to rap for you. And he's like, let's go, let's do it right now. And I just went for it. Like I was really hungry back then. Like I was working on my album and stuff, working on my mixtapes and stuff. So I went for it, and then I even told him, I said, his name comes from actually being, he was homeless in New York. KRS-One his real name is Christopher, but he was homeless in New York, and the Hare Rama Hare Krishna like movement in New York found him. They took him and they said, you can stay with us, and they gave him the name Krishna. And from that, he made it KRS. Like, and I reminded him of that, and I called him Krishna, and he like the smile that went on his face, and he like hugged me from that, because he's like, bro, I've not heard, that story in so long, and that actually like, put me out of such a bad place, and they taught me a lot, for me to be him. He's known as a teacher. Like he learned from, our culture as well. And it was kind of a cool way to connect with a legend. And he's, like being able to rap for a legend and get a cosign like that is...
Yeah, that's like, great, man.
It's a crazy memory.
Each one.
Yeah.
Bro, and also speaking about your times that you were in BBC, you got an airplay for your track Nomad.
Yeah. Wow.
So how did that happen, bro?
Yeah, I had a manager at the time who previously worked with guys like Jay Sean back in the day, like during his early days, and just because that was the way to go. If you were in the UK, I think if you were an Indian or Asian, South Asian person putting out music, BBC Asian Network was the place to send your music to. You know what I mean? Like that was the only global place to do it, but. There was one legendary radio personality by the name of Nihal, who he's from Sri Lanka, and he was introduced to me by my manager, and he's like a legend in the UK rap scene as well. Like all the big rappers and all the tastemakers know him because he's put on for Asian stuff, but he's also put on for just UK hip hop in general. And he was the only guy with a show on Radio 1, which is the biggest radio station in the world. Now, his show was from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m., but he ended up playing my song. And I remember, like, when I got the check on PRS for that, I went crazy. But just the feeling of hearing your song on the radio for the first time is insane. So I remember it was definitely like a good feeling. It was definitely a good feeling. And, shout out to, that there were a few people in the UK. Nihal was one of them who supported me, and even Bobby Friction and a lot of those guys, pushed me. And shout out to Limelight and Candyman, who still, constantly push. So, yeah, man, for me, it was like a first, like, small little milestone, I guess, because I was just, I was studying at the same time, and I had a song on the radio, which was really cool. So, yeah.
But from there, you might have got a good support that, okay, my thing is going to run now. I'm going to put out more songs and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
We are going to talk about all the old music stuff that you have put. But like talking about when you came to Mumbai, I think the first album you were featured in was the Rising mixtape.
Yes.
That was done by Hardcore. And we nearly met in the studio at that point of time.
We did.
We were on the All Stars Anthem. That literally won an award or something like that.
Yeah.
But how was your experience coming on that album and featuring with a lot of artists from India and working with them?
it was fun. I think I got to meet so many, both fun and also I like the challenge. I like being put in those situations where you're around other artists and you have to kind of prove yourself, because obviously I was fairly new to the scene at the time, and you guys had already made a name for yourselves and stuff. So I think it was fun and also very a good competitive environment for all of us to grow and flourish. And obviously, it was a bigger artist, putting spotlight on us. And I think for the time it was good. Like I learned a lot from that experience. It was a mix a mix of emotions and a mix of learning experience and
eye opener.
eye openers, and definitely like I said, networking is such a big part of my journey in Mumbai. I feel like I got to see a different side of the industry as well, and I got to meet a lot of when we were doing those press runs and just going to certain we went to a few award shows or whatever, where we just got to meet different people, and just meet okay, this is the more industry side of things, this is the more like Bollywood side of the industry, which we weren't used to, which I guess we only saw the clubs, we saw the hustle side of it, making music, putting it out, but seeing now, okay, we're at a radio station where we're meeting with the Quint, we're meeting with this magazine or that magazine, and little press runs and here and there, so, and launching an album and all that stuff. So it was definitely a learning experience and fun. I got to meet a lot of people who I still respect, and we're always in touch till today. So.
We have seen a lot of NRI artists coming over here, and then they turn towards the commercial market, making commercial songs and everything. But from you, what we got to see is you were more into the hip hop, the hardcore hip hop, the lyrical hip hop that we were doing at that point of time. Things were not that commercial. We were just focused on making our art and making it more real to the people.
For sure.
So I guess you were also on the tour, going back to UK to do this performance over there from this album. So you might have had a different experience, right? You have been already doing music in London and all these places, and now you're back in India, and then you go back again to UK to perform all these songs with hardcore and all these other artists from the mixtape. So bro, tell me, how was that experience over there, going back to UK, performing there?
I think it was good because it was the hype of Indian rap and Desi hip hop in general was bubbling at that time. Divine was already a massive name, and there were so many names. Nazy, obviously Raftar and everyone was already.
They have already done their UK tour by then.
Yeah, but Divine had done a UK tour with the Asian network already back then. But I think it was kind of interesting to see that a lot of people that kind of ignored me when I was living in London, when I came back with a little bit of a cosign.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, bro.
so, but which I don't mind, because someone once explained. I mean, I kind of realized also I was a different person when I lived in London. I didn't know who I was, to be honest. I was figuring myself out. London is not an easy city when you don't have a lot of family there, and you don't have a big community, which was my case. I was always around international students, so I was around different cultures, but I wasn't around a lot of Indians all the time, and I wasn't with my parents. My parents lived in Russia, so I didn't have so much of a support system. I was just figuring myself out, and I became such a nerd when it came to the audio engineering side, because I really wanted to focus on how do I get my vocals right, how do I get my music to sound right. I was producing music as well, so I think that time I was figuring myself out, and I think I was forcing myself to make music about making music. You know how rappers rap about rapping, I'm in the studio every day, or all that type of stuff. It becomes boring for people to listen to. So I wasn't really living life, I think, in London. When I came to India, I fell in love for the first time. I started, meeting people my age, partying, going out, meeting people, and feeling different things, feeling failure, feeling success.
You have this mutual feeling amongst the same people, the same energy.
Exactly. And you're amongst a community where so much is happening. and you're seeing things in real time. Like you're seeing a divine like blow up in real time, and you're like, shit, man, like this can really happen. You know, this is inspiring. So I feel like when I went back, maybe I was a little salty, like, oh, now people are like paying attention. I had to move away to do something, but I see why. I see why, because in London I was a different person. I wasn't making music that was like amazing or anything like that. Like you know, everyone goes through that, right? You're constantly cringing at music you made 3-4 years ago or even a year ago. So it is what it is, you know. Yeah.
Like talking about like starting up with Mumbai scene and everything.
Yeah.
I gradually we can see your music having a little bit parts of Hindi in it.
Yeah.
Like you performing some Hindi in it, and there's like Hindi chorus coming in, and like then your raps coming up, and then we can say it was a breakout for you when you were featured in the movie Gully Boy. And it was a breakout for everyone over here.
For sure.
For 100%. Those people who have been doing this thing for years.
Yeah.
And finally, Gully Boy was something that, okay, now we can tell at home that we are doing. We are going to be in a fucking picture, in a movie with Ranveer Singh.
Yeah.
But for us, it was like a kind of different because we were on the other side.
Yeah.
And you were on the other side.
Yeah.
So you were portrayed like you were coming from an elite space with Krishna and all these guys. Yeah. But it's in the kind of movie I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you were actually battling Ranveer Singh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you going against a fucking Bollywood star. So now your friends might like, okay, Shah Rule.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah.
So tell me, how was that scene, bro? Coming into a movie, like obviously you would have felt like, okay, I'm going to be a part of this movie. Yeah. But then they would have put you against Ranveer Singh, who is already a big name in the industry. Sure. And you have to kill him in the rap battle.
You know what, like, I know what you mean by like the two sides. Like I was on that like rich gang, whatever that money gang was, me, Cheetah and Krishna. But I feel like that was the one experience that actually brought everyone together, you know, like behind the camera, actually, that was like one of the best experiences because we were all just chilling with each other for like two weeks constantly, you know, shooting, waking up at 7 a.m. or whatever. And that actually brought, like, I became very good friends with Krishna and Saad Bantais and Devil and all of you guys, you know, through that whole experience. And I think definitely it was like super grateful for the fact that I got that role. And obviously it's not I was in two minds about doing the role because obviously I knew what the reaction would be because what I had to say in the movie and the lines that, you know, Zoya and the writers wanted me to kind of dive into. But I said, you know what, this is like, you know, it's a movie at the end of the day. It represents, like, every scene has so many different characters and so many different roles, you know. This is, at the end of the day, we come from a land of Bollywood, which is storytelling. And a lot of it, because Bollywood is like a lot of extra masala needs to be added, even though Zoya Akhtar is like we were so blessed to work with such an amazing director. Yeah. And who, the atmosphere on the set was so beautiful and so like welcoming towards the rappers. There was just hip hop music playing all the time. There would be good, fun stuff happening throughout of it, you know, and everyone on set, all the crew were so welcoming to all of us, which was amazing. And Ranveer Singh also being the perfect person for, you know, to play that role, because the guy was super passionate. He's one of the most passionate actors you'll ever meet in this industry. But he was super passionate and very welcoming towards us. I remember every time he'd have any interaction with us, you just hear him sing one of our songs, or like randomly we'd be walking to the set and he would start singing one of my random songs, which like blew my mind, you know. And he would just like, you would not feel that he was this mega star, you know what I mean? Which was kind of mind blowing that, you know, we were part of that, you know, that's a big milestone for our careers, but also I think it was also a big movie for him, you know, and I mean, he's had some massive blockbusters, but you know, I think that movie meant a lot to him as well. Yeah. And even Zoya and her whole team, you know. So
like talking about these things, like I remember when we were present over there, Your Murad and Shah Rule's battles were one of the intense battles that happened in the shoot.
Yeah.
And I remember in one scene, you just flicked the coin and it straight went to his pocket. And the whole set was like shook. It was not scripted.
It was mad.
Happened something naturally, then Ranveer took it so positively, and he just carried on with this acting.
He carried on with the set. Oh my god!
So it was like kind of a very astonishing moment for all the rappers also, like that the actor is taking so positively, and he's just carrying on with this act and everything.
Oh my god!
So it was a crazy thing for us over there, but like. Being in your shoes, you were in a different perspective to what we were in that movie and everything. But off screen, it was all about the family thing.
Yeah, facts. It was just fun. I have a funny story. So basically, the first day when we were shooting, I guess we were shooting the scenes where everyone was walking in and signing up for the contest, right? That was the first. We were all in the lobby and stuff. I think you and me were standing together for one scene or whatever. But or you were walking in with Dope Daddy in your crew. And I remember seeing Ranveer the whole day, and he was like nice to everyone and hugging everyone. But that was my first reaction with him, and he like very coldly said hi to me, but he didn't like warmly greet me. And I was like, oh shit, I think he's like trying to psych me out, or he's like in the character right now. You know, he doesn't want to be nice to me right now. And I remember the next time I saw him was finally when we were doing the scene. So they mic'd us up. I'm sitting on one side, he's sitting on one side. Zoya tells us before, just do the entire scene. And we're going to yell, cut, when like the battle is over. So we do the entire scene, like it's like a whole 7-minute sequence or whatever. And I remember as soon as he yelled cut, and that was the first take, he came and gave me a hug, and then he was super chilled from then onwards. Like we were laughing and sitting backstage, and he was telling me like, dude, I was super nervous. I didn't sleep the whole night. You know, I was so worried about this battle. I was learning my lines. And just like, I saw like the dedication that he had, like for that first take, he had to kind of like distance and make it feel like, oh, we're really going into battle right now. And this is, you know, this is the energy I need to be in. So it kind of gave me more confidence for the next few 5 takes we took, right? Because I was like, okay, like I thought this guy genuinely hated me or something, but it was a vibe. Like it was like to be in that position where like you're standing with such a legendary actor who's, you know, on his way up and already on his, you know, at the top, and Zoya Akhtar is there, and then randomly Farhan Akhtar is also on the sidelines watching you, and it was insane. It was insane then.
Like even the audio launch, it was a crazy experience.
Oh my god, insane experience.
Like performing, I think by the time when Ranveer Singh started this movie, he was rapping, and by the time the movie was ending, he started to do freestyle and stuff like that in the sets. And it was crazy watching him freestyle and getting into like totally into that character, into that act and everything. Delivering this stuff. It was a crazy. Like moving on from there. So speaking about your music, bro, your Hooked EP, it just came out and it had a lot of features in the album. You had Divine on our song.
Yes, sir.
So talk to me about that, bro.
Yeah, I think it happened at a point where we were just entering into lockdown, and I've always, whenever I made music, I've always want to give a good balance of like commercial and conscious, you know, like I want to speak about something, make people think, but also I want to entertain, you know. And for me at that time, we were just entering into lockdown, and all we were doing, we were on our phones, and we were seeing the effects of it on our mental health. And we were seeing how the news was affecting us constantly every day. And it was just affecting our moods, and everyone was going through a lot. So I decided, you know, that concept of where we were at, where we were constantly looking at our phones, this is a black mirror that we're dealing with. And I wanted to talk about the good and the bad, but in a very entertaining way that, you know, shows different sides of it. So a song like Khara Sona was like about materialism. Like I picked gold because obviously being a Sindhi, gold is, you know, something. Being Indians love gold, you know, it's a way of saving, like, you know, investing, saving money, but also we are a flashy, culture, that a whole country, all over different corners, you will see gold everywhere and, in different ways. So being a Sindhi, I always grew up, seeing my entire family, all the women in my family dress up flamboyantly. My nani, and my mom, who I love very much, that they were, like, they would take so much effort into dressing up. And that kind of, my eyes would always sparkle seeing gold. So that song was, I could have made it Kara Sona, Asli Shine, and just made it a typical hip hop banger, but I made it, Nakli Shine, because I wanted to show that, materialism is in our lives, and we're so, invested in, material items, like especially social media being the gateway for it, that we're constantly looking at things and wanting them and thinking that they're going to bring happiness to us. So I wanted to, that was one of the songs that I wanted to, express myself in that way, like my point of view of materialism, which I guess when you're in lockdown and you're just sitting at home and you're only looking at what people are posting online, and we're missing being out and, buying certain things. Everyone started saving their money because who knew when their next check was coming or whatever.
Yeah, man.
So that was one of the songs, and just different elements, Clap Clap. I got to work with Sikandar. He's such a legend, like one of my favorite rappers in the scene.
He's a legend, bro.
Yeah.
Legend.
For real. And I had a song called Memes, which was like a song I had from 2017 about a girl that that's from our generation. Like, we send memes to each other. We send, that's our love language, I guess, from our generation. And seeing that there's actually pain behind, humor, right? We use humor as a defense mechanism. So I saw that, it was just one situation with one girl who had been through a lot, and, she would send me memes regardless. And that was her way of dealing with the pain. And I think those were the type of songs that I wanted to make, where it was like,
once in a while we get to see this Shah Rule speaking about love, speaking about women once in a while, like from your song, The Crazy Connection.
Yes.
The Crazy Connection to Samjhena. Samjhena is also something about, like, that's very on a romantic relationship basis song and everything. So, like, from being a solo artist, like really doing a lot of stuff, doing a lot of collaboration, that is where I said favorite feature. So it's like you have featured with Hardcore, Raja Kumari, Divine, Raftar, and all the pretty much big names in the industry, and a lot of other guys also. Like being a solo artist, then you join Gully Gang. Gully Gang Parivar, Sabse Hard Parivar.
Sir.
Yeah. So how was life after that? Like getting into Gully Gang and being with the boys, touring with the boys, cooking music with the boys.
It was a blessing, and super grateful to Divine for being such a visionary and being a person who's really done so much for our scene and
truly, bro.
For the music, and you can just see the passion and the hunger. That's inspiring. Like seeing from where it started. And I remember when I moved here and I met him in the clubs. Like we bonded off the love of the music. We were both into battle rap. We used to send each other videos and stuff like that. But I think just to see how his vision has turned into like this like empire, like I think where he's reached, like where his live shows, where his catalog, like I'm super inspired off the fact that he like 3 amazing albums, which like represent so many sides of where the culture has shifted, but also just him as a person, as an artist. You see that grow. We know him as a friend also, but seeing it from both sides, and like I say this all the time, like when we make music and we hear it before it comes out, it's a different feeling. Once it comes out and the audience perceives it, you also as an artist hear it in a different way. So there's like a different magic when I hear a Divine album before it's released and then after, and it's like wow. So being a part of his movement and that team, and finding like a brotherhood between guys like Devil, Altaf, the younger guys, Avruti, even the newer guys like Sumayoki. It's been an amazing experience, a learning experience. It's taught us a lot of things. we went through the lockdown, which was insane, and a lot of songwriting camps, a lot of shows together. So it definitely is a family vibe, and I think we all came together. Divine got us together because we had a similar vision. We wanted to build hip hop. Like push for hip hop in our country. Because we're all fans of it at the end of the day. We really love the hip hop culture that inspired us. So seeing him work with like a Jadakiss or even a Russ, like me and Vivian, when we used to party, we used to listen to Russ in 2017, and we used to bond over listening to Russ because he was just like an independent artist killing it in the US. And then being able to see him work with Russ, and then I met Russ with Divine, which was crazy. So yeah, it's a full circle, and it's constantly a journey, but super grateful for the experience. And like Gully Gang, like what it represents, and what we represent for Bombay hip hop, for Mumbai, like is mad, because I think at the end of the day we're all spitters. We all have love for the pen, and how we express ourselves. And I think, not to put anything against any other city, but Bombay is full of spitters, and we got to rep for that always.
Yeah, bro, Bombay
no matter
boys,
how, no matter how commercial this shit gets, no matter with all the hooks and stuff, nah, we go rap, we go rap. That's it,
bro. Taking it from there, then you also signed to Mass Appeal.
Yeah.
And like a NAS label. Come on.
Yeah.
Starting off from London, and it's with all this mixed culture people, and then you come to Bombay, then you come to Bombay and sign to a NAS label.
Yeah.
Then how was that shit?
Yeah. No, definitely gotta, like, again, that all happened because of, the big bro Viv, the Divine made that happen. And the fact that someone like a legend like Nas and Peter from Mass Appeal, to put their belief behind Indian hip hop, which is fairly young, like compared to hip hop in the US, which is turning 50, it's fairly young. And for them to, put their money and their belief and their resources behind us and what we're doing is insane. It's insane to think about. And it's definitely been a blessing. And, I think at the end of the day, having that, like a Nas, like, just being associated with the name, obviously, and Mass Appeal, what they represent, because we really, like, obviously hip hop has so many sides to it, especially what the mass audience saw after Gully Boy was what they saw on, Ranveer Singh do. They saw that type of hip hop. But, we come from, studying this, hip hop from the US and from New York and from LA, like all that. So I think it means a lot to, maybe the fans don't see it, but it means a lot to us that, like, it's Nas, it's
of course.
It's a different feeling because we grew up listening to Illmatic and yeah,
because when we were doing this back years, we never thought a rapper's record label would come over here in India and he would sign. See, look at
It's
now,
insane.
there's like Mass Appeal,
Def Jam, there's everything, and
Warner Bros and all these guys coming in, signing up artists and everything. I think it's a
a huge thing. It's
huge thing for Indian hip hop scene right now.
Facts.
But speaking about you just rapping, you just don't rap, bro. You're back into that producing, composition, mixing and mastering and stuff. You do all the stuff together, like in your songs. I can see it. You do it in other songs as well, as like being a part, not just as a feature, but being sitting in the chair and working on the system. You're also a part of the composition and everything and which actually I think it makes a difference a lot. We can figure out this song has been more highlighted and it's been produced in a good way and composed in a good way. So like, give me some brain on that, bro. Like, not as a rapper, but sitting as an engineer in the seat and doing all this work.
I think like my background with audio engineering, like I'm super blessed to have that experience of because it was like the degree I did was like a 2-year degree. So I really took advantage of all the facilities we had. It was a 24-hour studio system, and I would go in whatever time I could get the studio, I'd go in. And I think because I really put in that effort back then, and throughout the years, constantly being hungry to learn how to use my voice better, and knowing, like, I when I moved here, I was producing, but I kind of slowly took a step back, and I started making music on YouTube type beats. Started working with every producer, like with everyone, because I wanted to focus just on vocals, especially like hooks. Things like hooks was something I started slowly seeing, like, okay, this is where I can really shine, and I started putting more effort into that, especially sound wise. I wanted it should always have an international sound, like when my music was like that. So I feel like that is a very important thing, like how you represent yourself in an audio way. Like sonically, that's the first thing people judge you on, right? Because when you're an up and coming artist, what is the first thing you say when you play to someone? Oh, it's not mixed. Like you play your music, oh, it's not mixed yet or whatever. But like I remember as a kid, like always, oh shit, it's not this mic is not good enough. Something is wrong with this quality or whatever. So I was always hungry to be like, I need to get my quality better, because you would go to
that really matters when you are in the game, and like you need to deliver the best quality.
Up your game, 100%. And obviously you could go to studios and pay for it, but I hated that. Because I even today I hate recording in professional studios. I need to record at home. Like I need to feel comfortable in my seat. I need to be able to like make funny noises and try different voices and stuff. Like I whenever someone invites me to a studio to record, I'm like, just please come over to my house, or let's take like a hotel room or an Airbnb, set up like a basic thing, which I love doing. I love doing small songwriting camps. I do it like 2-3 times a year. I'll go anywhere, any corner of India. Like I've done Guwahati, I've done Goa, I've done Lonavala, everywhere with Gully Gang, solo in Delhi. I've done it, and just take a hotel room, basic mic, basic sound card, and it's a vibe. Like you get a different vibe. Get some artists in the room, and for me that's where the real vibe gets curated. Like I used to love being in the studio because I was obsessed with, oh my god, I'm in the studio, there's a mic there. I would geek out. I would try and get the audio engineers respect, like, oh, I know this, I know that, all that. But I hate it now. I find it so hard I find it very uncomfortable, because actually the real vibe is where the artist can be. An artist can go somewhere and make a vibe. Like a studio is great for just professional sound, but I've learned, and I know a lot of bedroom producers and artists who can deliver professional sound, and all of my music that I work on has been done from my bedroom. Like Hooked, every big song has been done from my bedroom, and I love that. Like I know a lot of the biggest artists today, like Billie Eilish or whatever. All these people did start from their bedroom and stuff, which is like, we come from that generation, the bedroom producer, bedroom artist generation, and there's so many young guys doing that still. So kudos to you, like whoever's out there making it from your bedroom, like just keep working on your sound and you'll get there. Like,
because due to the lack of support from the family, a lot of people start up with focusing on writing good stuff, writing better rhymes and like getting better beats. But very few people would focus on the engineering part. They wouldn't sit on the mix or anything. They will try to get a person who can do the mix for them, do the master for them. There is very few artists who sit in their own mix and master their own stuff. So in that case, I really feel like, oh, it's a great thing that you do. You just don't only work on your rhymes. You also work on the other side of it, the engineering side of it, so that sonically your music sounds in a good quality, the top-notch quality that you want for.
For sure.
Like moving on to the next part, let's talk about some of your songs that I've picked up, which I feel I liked it. Like I don't know about the people, guys. I don't know about you, but these are my favorite songs from Shah Rule.
Yes.
So. But before that, bro, you also had a collaboration with Ayushmann Khurrana. You made a Bollywood debut in the terms of music. Because in Gully Boy, it was just acting. But after that, you were on this track. So how did that happen, bro? Speak to me about that.
In fact, Devil was already on the track. And, Devil is someone who's... I have to give a lot of credit to him. I feel like we've both pushed each other when it comes to making music. Like when we've sat together, he's helped me with the writing. I've helped him with like kind of like his voice and figuring out his voice over the years, like with songs like Psycho and all the ciphers that we did together. So he's someone that like when I get in the studio, I know like some magic will come, and also at the same time, he has like a Midas touch when it comes to lines that will go viral. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, of course.
something when he steps on the mic, people are gonna make reels to that. People are gonna dance to it. People are gonna rap to it. So when he was called to work on this song, and he had already done his parts in Hindi, and it was very much towards the scene in the movie where Ayushmann Khurrana has just accidentally killed a politician's friend or whatever, and now he's on the run. So Devil's like kind of the devil on his shoulder. The Devil is the devil on his shoulder, and they wanted an English perspective to kind of be the angel on the shoulder of motivating him to like keep running, like you'll get away with this, all that stuff, like in that kind of way. So like it's not your fault, this happens in life or whatever. So they brought me in, very smooth, easy experience, always working with the Evil. And I think what was great about this is first Bollywood track for me, official Bollywood track for me, where I was able to rap fully in English, which I love. I always say I represent for English rap, in India. And I want to push for bars in India, like that real lyrical rap, which I know all of us do, So with this, they gave us a lot of freedom, Obviously, it had to be, I think for rappers, the best thing is when you have like a very solid brief, it's easier, right? When a brand gives you a brief and it's like, these are the exact words, it's like, it's an easy job for us, right? We need to find the rhymes and put it, it's like a puzzle. It's literally like a puzzle. So it was literally that. We got to see the scene exactly how it was. And we just had to write towards it, which was actually like very easy. There was not that much pushback, that comparatively when you're working on a brand song, they will ask you to make hundreds of changes or whatever and tiny little changes. But the director was very, very like, happy with what we did. I was able to put in one or two little sneaky little references, which I was very happy about as well. So I think me and Devil, whenever we get into the studio or wherever anywhere, we laugh. We just make jokes. How everyone knows if you're around Devil, he's going to make some jokes. He's going to roast you. He's going to do something. But it was just it was a fun experience, that's it.
So every time when we are with Devil, it's only fun. And I think that is where it begins from. From that fun, we get into that creativity.
Yes, sir.
And we end up with creating something that is great.
Agreed.
So let's talk about your songs now, bro.
Yes.
My first song would be a Crazy Connection. Talk to me. Talk to me about this song. Because this song, I cannot see the Shah Rule that I'm seeing right now. Like Gulu Gulu boy.
He's still in there. He's still in there. Yeah.
Like I can see that Gulu Gulu boy.
The Gulu Gulu boy. Yes. What?
I watched it and Altaf was there in the studio and I made him sit. I thought, look, have you seen this song of Shah Rule? And he was also surprised, like when did this come out?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I think nearly I have watched that now more than 3-4 times, bro. And I would love to watch it again, bro.
Oh god. Yeah.
Bro, talk to me about that song. Come on.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I think love has always been something that I've been able to, express myself with. Like, I think I was always a very shy kid when it came to like relationships. Like I think I started very late in my life with relationships and like dating. So I think that's where I was able to express myself. And that song was just about a girl in my school who I had a big crush on, but I didn't know how to tell her. That was my way of expressing myself. So it was, it was the first time making a music video. And yeah, it was like, obviously, I think for me, I come from a melodic background. Like I grew up listening to pop music, whether it was my sister making me listen to Britney Spears or Shakira or whatever, as a kid, we listen to all that stuff. But also just, I grew up listening to Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder. So just in general, I would always add melody to my songs. So Crazy Connection was definitely one that, an early hook of mine, which I guess like foreshadowed that, hooks would be something, big for me later on. Yeah.
Na 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 na. Bro, it is so romantic and like nearly. I actually saw this video after I went through a lot of other songs, so
Okay,
it was kind of different for me.
Yeah.
Like watching Shah Rule in
Yeah,
these
yeah.
shoes. So So it was crazy, bro. It is a
Crazy connection.
crazy connection. Yeah. I think we can see something of those lines in Samjhena also.
Yeah,
where,
for sure.
Like talking about love and relationship
for
and all
sure.
those things.
I think just in general, like the commercialness of it as well.
तो
Like,
कभी-कभी वो शाहरुल देखने मिलता है.
Yeah.
बाहर आता है शाहरुल.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So the next track is Who. I
Yeah.
especially like the beat
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the lyricism in this track.
Yeah.
And I think that is where the Shah Rule kind of popped out
Yeah.
in the Mumbai scene.
Yeah,
because
the Mumbai,
hard, heavy hitting track.
Yes, sir. For me, I think that was the first time I worked on a YouTube type beat.
Mhm.
And what I did was I started this thing where I was like, I'm just gonna go through YouTube type beats and just make a hook in like 15 minutes. And that's like kind of that's how I make music now. Like for the last like 5 years, it's always like if I can't make a hook in the first 5 to 10 minutes, then it's like move on to the next thing or move on to the next idea. And it was one of those videos that I just went out to Bandra, went out Chimbai, that's where I live, and just shot a video, edited it myself, all that type of stuff. So for me, like just like with everything else, like that was also a learning period for me, like making videos. Like I'd done videos where I'd spend a little bit more money, bigger production, but that was when I started learning how to like edit my own music videos, shoot my own music videos, direct, like in the most raw, basic way. Like we would go somewhere in a bandstand, shoot 1 or 2 scenes, not get in trouble, but with the cops, these would try and take your camera away and stuff. And then I'd shoot just opposite my house. There's a basketball court. I used to shoot there, and a lot of places. Just making full use of my neighborhood. Just like I think every rapper has done that.
I think Mumbai is a beautiful city to shoot a lot of.
It's the most raw, and you'll get like the nighttime has a totally different yellow vibe to it. You know what I mean, with the street lights, and then the daytime has this green. Like the more green vibe, which is you can really capture a lot with the city.
I'm facing a problem finding a location in Dharavi right now because all the locations have been used. So I have to myself figure out some new place that I haven't gone in Dharavi.
Literally.
And like I have to shoot somewhere like that.
The amount of videos I've shot on like the rocks of Kara Road, like walking there, being careful and stepping on all the rocks. The amount of times I've done that with white sneakers. I've done it so many times. Samjhena also was there. Lax, one of my songs, Lax was also there. So like we've done it all. Like in Bandra, I've covered quite a bit. Covered quite a bit.
Crazy. Moving on to the next track is Psycho.
Yeah.
I was really disappointed when this track came out because I wasn't featured. Story Psycho was not featured in this track.
Yes.
That was very disappointing.
I think we were planning to do a remix or something, right?
Yeah, of course, bro. We should.
We should, yeah. Yeah, that was like with The Evil, man. I feel like whenever he does a video, you just see like that's his inner character.
He's into it, bro.
He's into it. He, like if you hang out with The Evil, you know how animated he is as a person. But then when he gets into his videos, he really like he looks at it as like a movie. Like it's like I think Kalki was the first one. Was it No, it was Karki, that one, right?
Yeah. Karki.
Yeah.
That's right.
Where he was in the chawl in Dada and everything was shot in one.
Yeah.
I thought that was such a beautifully done video, so raw, but like very well executed, like so much going on, and it went with the song as well. So I remember when I met him at Car Social after like I was performing with DJ Shani, and we just chopped it up, and I said I'm a big fan of you, and like let's work. And I was in my phase of just doing quick hooks on YouTube beats. That was also a YouTube beat. So sent him that. He gave me like a classic The Evil verse. We worked on his like lower voice with these crazy ad libs and things like that, and layered it up with different harmonies and stuff. So that was a fun one because like
the video was also fun. It was fun watching the video.
Yes,
also.
sir. And like for me, that was another one that I directed and edited as well. Just because like I was in that zone where I was like, that video costed me 5K. Just renting a camera and then editing myself. Like on a cracked version of FCP or whatever, which I know a lot of editors and directors make fun of me for using that video. But and even we had quite a few people, homies in the video, like EMF. We had Blunt in the video. We had I'm forgetting some other names, but in that video, like a few of the Evil's crew came. HHB also was there, and we made it look like there was like a dining scene with like a bunch of crazy psychos and all that stuff. And we shot literally in my nani's building. There was a small little garden there, and like just in that one angle where Devil's being carried or something, like he's carrying someone and he has a knife in his neck. Everything. We just went to a Halloween shop, bought everything within $500. We bought everything, like all little fake blood, all this stuff. I literally took whatever chain I had, I put it on my neck. I had a leather jacket from London, which I never used once I moved here. Used that, and
as soon as you finish the work as a rapper, you need to then be the director, then be the executive producer, then be the production guy,
actor, everything.
Everything. You have to be like all in all that type of guy to get your shit done.
And I was like, we were like making the table look crazier. We just put every knife in the kitchen. We put on the table and stuff. So it was fun. Like I think that time, like I think it was just like hungry to like I want to put this song is crazy. I want to make the video right now.
I think YouTube was that point of time very popular, and like it was very, very actively supporting hip hop things. Yeah. Because before that, people only used to put audios, and when YouTube came, people started to have that more interest of putting music videos out more well-produced music videos.
Even Facebook, we were like constantly way more on Facebook. Like I remember, like I used to just put out small freestyles with Ninja, Nasty Ninja, and like we used to get like quite a lot of shares because he was in his b-boy space, with Beast Mode, with the Beast Mode crew and stuff. So I remember like. Back then, when I first came here, I was just like, Facebook was where we were all meeting each other as well. And I remember that's how like a lot of our music also, spread, through YouTube and Facebook. That was that era. Yeah.
Talking about the next track.
Yeah.
Kaun hai tu?
Yeah.
Hai tu kidhar ka? It seemed like a lot of people have asked you this question.
Facts.
And you have finally made it. Okay, now I'm gonna ask you. Kaun
exactly.
Hai tu kidhar ka?
You literally answered it for me. Yeah, and again, Devil, like he, I sat with him for that, and I literally said, bro, I want to like just tell people who the fuck do you think you are, like like where do you think you come from to say this to me or whatever like that. So, he, in the most literal way, he helped me, get into that zone. And just in general, like, that song obviously represented, I think for anyone on the come up, when you have to explain for yourself things and just be on the aggressive that, this is my dream, I'm fighting for it. That's the energy I had from that song. And I knew that Raja Kumari would also really relate to that, because obviously she's another NRI who's also faced that same thing from local musicians and just people here. But what she brought on,
possibly there is a thing that when you go abroad and they don't accept you because they think you're an Indian.
That's
and
exactly
when you come
true.
to India,
they don't accept. Yeah,
they don't accept you. They think you're a foreigner or something.
I totally agree.
So there is a non-acceptance in both the places, and then you have to justify yourself through your art, and you have to make them explain that my roots are over here. I'm still rooted, and I'm going to represent my country.
Facts. And I think that's why also, like, just besides, like, on that song, I wanted to do everything. I wanted to sing high and low, like in the most highest way possible, the lowest way possible. I wanted to rap in a slow flow and a fast flow, and I wanted to have tons of bars in there, and even the beat was just like, had a drop and everything. I wanted to do everything in that song because it's like, okay, obviously I'm going to say what I have to say as well, but then I'm going to also showcase that I can fucking do this, like I'm going to rap my ass off, sing my ass off, and also I know where Raja comes from, the way she sings.
Bro, when
the way she raps
drops in and the tracks just picks up.
Yeah, exactly. So like, shout out to Raja Kumari. Like, she's one of the most talented people like I know in this scene, and she's done so much. She's pushed for females in this scene, and we have another song, the Dawn as well. Recently did that. But like whenever we get into the studio together, it's always a vibe. And I think we were able, like, I was with her when we were writing her verse, and like just being able to, I have my thoughts on my verse, and she has her thoughts on her verse, and then it comes together with a hook that we can both relate to, and then performing that song. Like I remember it dropped, and this was the same few weeks that Kohinoor dropped, and there was a Kohinoor launch in Mahalakshmi. Divine had a huge show.
I was there,
and I remember performing the song for the first time for a live audience. Previously, we'd done it for MTV Hustle, which also helped blow it up. But I remember just singing Kaun Hai Tu and hearing like 6,000 people like sing it back to me, and it just blew my mind. It was the first time really like I heard one of my own songs being sung by people, and like till today, it's like one of those tracks that I get like a lot of love for, which I appreciate it. I really appreciate that song. Yeah.
Talking about your next song, that is from your EP Hook.
Yeah.
Like Don't Forgive Me featuring Divine.
Yes, sir. Yeah. That was a song like really deep into the lockdown.
Like anyone would have expected a banger from both of you guys.
Yeah.
But this song was kind of different.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Even Divine's voice hits you hard. It's some different Divine that you get to listen to.
That's the classic Divine. That's like a classic Bombay Divine, which like I think that song was me in the lockdown, like realizing also that certain friendships come and go. There's betrayal in life, or there's this thing that not every friendship or relationship will stay, and you have to grow from it. And kind of like a self claiming that you're not gonna let it bother you, and this is like me, like don't like forgive yourself, don't forgive me, like I'm gonna do me. If you're gonna fuck around with me, then I'm gonna move forward and forget about you and not remember your name, or learn from the experience, and I won't forgive and don't forget, that type of thing. They say forgive and forget, but
like I'm trying to recollect the bar of your forget, don't
forgive and don't forget, respect the rule.
Respect the rule.
So because at the end of the day, it's like there's that fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, can't put the blame on you. So it's like it's you have to kind of learn from every mistake and every encounter and become better for it. So
definitely,
I feel like Divine has gone through his fair share of things in his life. He's not had the easiest life, of course, and we've heard that in his music. And I feel like at that point where he was with his music was like so many big hits were coming out, at that moment. And then we were all in the lockdown. And then I remember when I sent it to him, he was like, dude, you caught me like at the right time. Like I had the exact verse for I had the exact feelings for this. And I think the love that I get for that song because of what he brought to it, and just in general, like I remember I had only one verse on it and the hook, and he did his verse, and I was like, shit, I need a third verse. You know that feeling? And I love that Viv always tells me, man, he always tells me like, bro, that third verse is crazy. So like I, you're right. Me and Divine have made some bangers, and like I will cherish those. But like that song also like means a lot to me, because it's like I feel like I have what I want to do within music is bring people together. Whether it's a vibe here, whether it's a walla, whether it's me doing a song with
even walla, bro. It's a great track.
Yeah. So I think inspiring, bringing people together rather than separating people. That's why I do a lot of collabs.
But I think Don't Forgive Me as an emotion which is close to heart. And it's in that zone that you can listen to it. You can sit and listen to it, and you can feel the lyrics and everything.
It's crazy, and
like you don't want to get up and jump on this song, but you just want to sit, listen, and just
it's a car song. It's a car song. It's a like chill. It's that type of vibe where. And for me, it was like the last song. I wanted that to be the outro, of the EP, because, like, it just had that feeling that wrapped everything together. Because obviously, with the hooked theme of the social media stuff, it's like so much of our interaction is online, less meaningful. a lot of our industry people, we only meet at night, or you will never see them in the daytime or whatever like that. So, and you end up having these very short friendships and relationships that end up really bad very quickly, and you have to manage your emotions for those things.
Yeah.
So I think that song represented like a lot of those feelings and certain friendships that went sour or whatever, where I had to express myself, on that song. Yeah.
Moving on to the next song.
Yeah.
I was present at the shoot, and
Yes.
it had two of the big names
Yes, sir.
of the industry, of the previous generation and the current
new
generation.
Yeah.
Naye Wo,
Woo.
featuring Raftar and MC Altaf.
Yes. Yeah.
Come on, talk to me about that, bro.
That's also something that happened during the lockdown. But like me and Altaf, it's so funny. Altaf, how I met Altaf was through Snapchat. He used to reply to all my freestyles and say, "Bro, I'm a big fan" or whatever. Like that's how we used to chat. Like, and at that time I wasn't big in Bombay. I was just putting out stuff with Ninja and a lot of people and Psycho, all these songs. But he was younger to us, right? He was just seeing you guys also do your stuff. He was learning from you guys. He was setting up his crew, all that. So seeing his growth and how he's changed, and how he's grown and the success he's found, like super proud of him, and just his skill level, his hunger is crazy. So like we worked on a lot of music, me and Altaf, and one thing about him is like he's super open to just working on any style, which I love. It's like there's a lot of people who are just stick to their same style, but he's super open to experimenting. The fact that we did a Samjena and a Nayevo in the same year, you know what I mean? And we're constantly, we have so many other stuff that we worked on, but Nayevo was one of them that like the
I think
hook
from the video to the song to everything was projected in a good way, and
and I was so happy that all of you guys like Saat Bantais, Dopadelics, Yash Raj, a bunch of creatives, Shantanu Hazarika, Chaitanya Dikshit, a bunch of creatives from our city came together for that, for that moment, which I'm very grateful for, because, it's about unity at the end of the day, and kind of representing for your people, representing for your city. And at the same time, that sense of competition is always there, you want to rep for your shit, and I think I was super happy with the way that came out. And even having Altaf give his perspective in his way, and then having Raf come and do some an insane verse from his perspective, being an OG, and having certain lines that he's at a point where
Raftar also had a killer verse to the song, which added more value.
Especially the line about being the judge, and where he lost, he's now the judge. How often in someone's career can you have like a iconic line like that? You know what I mean? Like,
man, you have to go through a lot.
You have to go through a lot.
You can write that, but if you haven't lived that makes no sense.
Yeah.
And so that is the thing.
I had that song in the bank like from 2020 till it finally came out in 2022. So like I just knew, I was like, no matter how, even me and Stunner Beats, shout out to Stunner Beats, he killed that production. And we kept having conversations throughout those 2 years. It's like, man, the beat is getting old, the sound is getting old. Should we change it? Like we added the switch up to Raftar's verse, but in the end, like I think a timeless song is a timeless song, and I get a lot of love for that song because I think people fuck with the message, and people fuck with what we did on that song as well. And just also the video, the way we were all there together, also represented something else. So I think I still get comments on that video about like all of you guys being there, which like was like the highlight for me. All of us being in that space. And I think before that, all of us being in that space was probably in Gully Boy or or at a show or something.
Or it would have been in somewhere at Antisocial or something.
Yeah, and I was just thinking Antisocial on top over there. But yeah, so that's a special one for me for sure.
But I would appreciate you for like inviting us and like
always,
do
man,
a cameo in that music video
course.
with all three of you guys.
No, you guys rep for Bombay
as well.
Yeah,
so moving on to your latest release, which is not from this earth. It is like alien shit or something like that.
Out of this world,
out of this world, spaceship.
Yeah.
It had Samohit, then
Yes.
Samohit I think is one of the guys who's like taking up right now.
Yes,
He's
sir.
booming.
He's killing
like
it.
bringing up good content.
Shout out to Samohit.
He's being relevant right now.
Yes.
So, and even a.k.a. is a good lyricist.
Legend.
The way he writes and he presents it.
Yeah.
And yeah, bro, talk to me about how this
song
happened.
Yeah.
You're all from a different.
So this song, I'm sure people have seen there was a small documentary on the Gully Gang channel from the Lonavala songwriting camp we did.
Yeah.
So this song actually was done in 2020, Feb 2020. Me and Samohit worked on the hook in that songwriting camp, and then over the last 3 years, a.k.a. sent his verse, I guess, a year later or something like that. We were looking what to do with the song, that type of thing, and then the hook became a bigger thing, and it was just a journey, like in the sense of, again, when we go to a songwriting camp, we'll put on a beat, and this was definitely a crazy, different type of beat. The producer, his name is Kanch. He also produced Rider for Divine, and that also same writing camp. I brought this guy's a beat pack from this young producer, and this is like a 18-year-old kid who was working in a call center at the time. He was like just one of those guys making beats in his bedroom. And we made Rider and Spaceship at the same camp, and Rider ended up being on Punya Pop, and then Spaceship ended up coming on now. But the video also, which we did, shout out to Post Office Studios. They created this.
I think the video was sick. I think
one of the best.
Hip Hop is doing the futuristic kind of
for real
shit right now.
For real. I mean, animated videos. We've seen different levels of animated videos, like certain ones, like Divine's Mera Bhai. That was a really good animated video, which told like a really strong story. And this one, the process was more like today's metaverse type vibe. Like they had us do 3D photos of our full 3D angle from top, from bottom, and then once that was set in the system, then we had to perform in front of an iPad where our face is there moving, and we have to perform that, all the lyrics. For them to start making the characters. And then that was in October. So it took about 5 to 6 months of them building this whole world and the storyline. Shout out to Chang, Shot by Chang, who was the creative director on this, and our whole Gully Gang team and the Post Office team, because they created something so crazy. Like when I saw the first cut and it was me fixing the spaceship, and then it says homie abducted and we're gonna go save a.k.a. now. I was like, this is so dope. This is like hip hop, but in such a futuristic way. Like that, our metaphor was that there's a lot of songs with the spaceship theme. Kanye has one about like working on I wish I have a spaceship that can take me away from this grind, and but for us was like we're the new wave. I'm out of this world. I'm chilling with the stars. Like at the time, like I'm chilling with all these big musicians. I'm a star. That type of vibe. So that type of metaphor was the basis of this song, and it was just having fun. I
think it's banging, bro. It's banging everywhere. And
it's a banger.
It's getting a good response in the
yes, sir.
YouTube.
Shout out to everyone.
Yeah, bro. Like talking about all your songs now. What's coming next? What is your future project, or what is you currently working on right now?
I have a project which is almost wrapped up. Still deciding if it's an EP or album, but something that's more mature. A lot of love, love related stuff, and just life related stuff. Which obviously, my last EP being Hooked, which was more about like the stage we were at in that thing, but also Hooked also had this thing about addiction, like about what we're addicted to in this life, and where I'm at right now, I feel like it's more acceptance and kind of, I'm speaking more maturely, I'm speaking more honestly in my music. So the songs that you're gonna hear are like more relationship centric, and also just in general, like being more, understanding of yourself and your, accepting your flaws, working on yourself. So more like I definitely feel I'm in a more, obviously with age, comes responsibility, like Spider-Man. But I'm saying music-wise, I've become more mature with the topics that I'm talking about. So very soon I will release my next project, and it will be kind of not a follow-up, but in the same, like, I love the way Kanye did his first 3 albums, like College Dropout, Late Registration, and Graduation. Like, I wanted to do something where I have like a series, and they don't directly have to be, but they kind of follow in terms of, my growth. So
it can be a prequel, sequel, or any kind of...
Exactly, yeah. So I have something in the works, which is my next thing. Yeah.
So I want to just ask you, like, you have been traveling around a lot of places, and like finally you are in Mumbai right now.
Yes.
So I don't know if this flamingo is going to fly to more states.
No. No,
You're going to be seeing Shah Rule in Cali or LA or something like that.
I definitely want to do New York at some point. Like, once I feel like we are at a point where we've done enough over here, and like where I feel like I've done enough here and I've made my mark fully here, then I do want to go to the US. I do want to, New York is like where hip hop, the birthplace of hip hop, and I think it's always fascinated me, that city. And I definitely want to try that at some point. But for now, Bombay, and I think Bombay will always be home, of course, and I always want it to be my base.
Talking about this, bro, I think you have been in Bombay for a long time, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people in the podcast, they say like, "अरे क्यों English में बात कर रहे हो, हिंदी में बात करो?"
Because I'm from Bandra, baby.
It totally depends upon the artist that you are doing with.
You know what? The problem is when I'm actually speaking with my friends and stuff like that, I'll speak properly, but as soon as it's on camera or something like that, I get super nervous.
Yeah, man,
but like,
I understand.
But like for me, it's always been like, when it comes to writing and stuff, I'll sit with writers when it comes to Hindi, and actually I'll start coming up with the right Hindi words, but just the grammar will be wrong or whatever like that. And that's where, certain guys that I've worked with, whether it's like a Devil or Gravity, or a lot of guys that, Samohit as well, and they're just able to help me, put that forward in the right way. That's it.
Like, it's better to do it right than doing it
in the wrong way. And especially with the accent as well, because like, obviously people know I have this accent, and even in a lot of my songs it comes out.
I think most of the people find it
good.
They take it in a good way, because they cannot listen this accent Hindi from all the Indian rappers.
Of course.
Even if they try to do it, it will sound so plastic. It won't sound so real. But for you, it's coming out naturally, so it's like it's already there.
And even like, obviously, like, I'll make sure, like, just in terms of pronunciation, that needs to be correct. Like, I'll spend a lot of time with that, because obviously certain things I didn't learn, like I didn't grow up speaking Hindi, so that's why certain words, when I rap them, they won't come out properly. So a lot of time goes into that. But especially like with the Gully Boy rap battle, like that was like really had to like go in with that. But
we know, we were present in this set, so we know.
So
Crazy, bro. So I want to know, who is your top 5 international artists that you are listening to right now, or you are
listening to right now? I still listen to the same, like, Kanye, Jay-Z, Kendrick, Cole, and Drake, like, like from mix of the old and new. And
who are the current 5 top artists you are listening to right now in India?
In India, definitely Divine, like Gunegar is still like on my playlist like crazy. Krishna for sure. I think Krishna's music is really dope. Who else? Raftar, of course. I think his last project was really cool. Other than that, I think like Seedhe Maut. I think what they do is insane, and their music is super good. Like very new wave, but also they can keep it old school, and they can do everything. They can do the slow stuff, fast stuff, and I think very versatile. Very versatile.
But I think most of these rappers, all of them are like indie rappers, and they do stuff in Hindi.
Yeah.
But who do you think is like killing it in
Sumayoki.
English right now?
Sumayoki, I think, is one of the biggest stars that will come from India, and he's repping for Goa, which you don't see so many artists come from Goa, especially hip hop artists. And I think he's more of a pop artist actually. Like he's an incredible singer, incredible producer, very similar to me, like in terms of vocally, like knowing his like harmonies and stuff like that. So I know he puts in a lot of effort with his stuff when it comes to like the production side, songwriting side. So I think he's going to be one of the biggest names that you'll see, from the English side. Even shout out to Hanuman Kine, shout out to like a lot of guys.
I would love to see that collaboration coming.
We have a song.
Hanuman.
We have a song.
Yeah.
It's a bad one.
We got some exclusive content now in the podcast. Yeah. So when is that coming, bro?
That
don't take 2-3 years.
No. This year. This year things are gonna change. Things are gonna. It's
cool,
gonna.
Man, looking forward for that collab, bro. I would love to listen to that.
Yeah.
Like talking about all this thing apart from music, we always see you dripped up.
Yes, sir.
With all that gold and ice and that glittery clothes and everything.
Yes, sir.
So talk to me about the fashion, bro. Where you get this inspiration from?
Yeah, I think obviously from Sindhi culture. Like I was at weddings where people were very flashy with the clothes. My parents both came from fashion backgrounds. Like my dad was in retail and sportswear. My mom was in jewelry. So I always had this eye for wanting to dress up. When I would go to school, I want to wear like some crazy hoodie or some stupid fake chain I would wear when I was 13 years old, trying to find the ones that spin and things, just like little things.
We all had one.
Fake grills, all that stuff, So I always had this passion for dressing up, and obviously your style always changes throughout your life. You always change your style based off who you are at the time, your beliefs. And I think it's something that you grow with, and you have to also push yourself to get out of your comfort zone sometimes and reinvent yourself. Especially as an artist, you have to always reinvent yourself. So I think that's something I found comfort, and also a way to get myself, and take risks. Like taking certain risks with fashion as well is important to for you to push your brand, for you to see what works. Even me, growing my hair
I remember when all these crews were just printing their crew t-shirts and everything. You had your snapback launch. And everyone was wearing that Rule worldwide caps and everything.
Yeah. So it's just about little things like that. Yeah.
So you're also focusing on the building yourself as a brand, and
of course,
in terms of fashion and everything.
100%. I think constantly as an artist, you should, and as a brand, your core values should stay the same. But you as someone who's going through life and aging also, you always have to reinvent yourself and be honest with your audience about where you are at. So for me, it's like certain times when I first moved here, and I was just wearing a lot of black and gold, just a lot of black and gold. And then the last few years went very colorful with a lot of my fits and stuff like that, because it was just, I think maybe I was trying to fight the darkness of the lockdown and everything, and I said that whenever I go out, I'm gonna be the most colorful person. And I think from there you got this tag called Young Bappi. I think the chains,
all the gold chains,
the chains thing I've always been obsessed with since a kid. I've always been obsessed with seeing 50 Cent, seeing Slick Rick and Pharrell, Kanye with crazy chains and stuff like that. I always was interested in wearing chains from the get-go. Whether it was me when I moved here, I went to Hill Road and I used to buy chains from certain guys over there, or saving up to buy real gold and investing. So for me, it's always been something that catches my eye, and I can't leave the house without thinking on, wait, I need to accessorize this with that or whatever.
So what is the most expensive accessory that you bought? It could be a jacket, sneaker, or chain, or something like anything.
My music career. I think. No, I have one gold piece which has my logo on it. So that's
I've seen it.
Yeah, so that's like a investment piece, but it's something that you all, as a rapper, you always want your logo on your somewhere.
We have seen you putting your logo in Sherwani and shit like that.
Yeah, come on.
So
yes, sir.
So obviously, we know how you are into the fashion and everything, and that's why I wanted to bring this thing up.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I think it definitely stems from my parents, being fashion people, and they gave me a lot of ideas, and just obviously being a rapper as well, you're always fascinated with seeing. We were all inspired of rappers that we and their style and the iconic looks and different styles that every decade changes. 10 years ago we were wearing baggy jeans, which is now back. But halfway through it was all tight jeans and
worn out, wrinkle, and all these kind of things.
Constantly changing. So I think it's very exciting.
Bro, I would love to see more of that Rule worldwide merch.
Yes, I'm revamping it and doing some different stuff. Yes, sir.
So almost we have come to an end of this podcast, but we have a last segment, and which is going to be a pretty much interesting segment.
Okay.
So it's going to be a rapid fire round. You can't take too much time. You have to select one of two. And let's go. Let's start.
Let's do it.
Okay. Mumbai or London?
Mumbai.
Okay. Indian hip hop or UK hip hop?
Indian hip hop.
Okay. Fat Joe or Rick Ross? Yeah. Come on.
Oh, both of them.
Okay, both of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Khara Sona ya Tanda Tanda Ice?
Khara Sona.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Khara Sona, bro. Come on. Okay, smoke up or booze?
Booze.
Okay.
Smoke,
So I think we can go bar for bar by the bar.
Yeah. Bars. Constantly.
Yeah. So we see you hanging around at a lot of places. So I wanted to ask you this question.
Yeah.
Home food or restaurants?
Restaurants. You kids eat here.
Bro, if you would have said home food, I would have just said, I saw your last story. You were chilling in a restaurant.
Yeah. No.
Veronica's?
Yeah, Veronica's. Yeah, shout out to Veronica's.
Yeah. So next, custom made or luxury brands?
Custom made.
Yeah.
Always.
Okay, diss songs or collaborations?
Collaborations all day.
Okay,
all day.
But if anyone wants to mess with you, then gotta keep them coming, right?
My pen is flawless. Just letting you know that.
Okay, writing rhymes or producing beats?
Writing rhymes.
Okay.
Rhymes. Yeah.
So where is the real fun? On the stage or in the studio?
Stage. Actually, stage. Studio is fun, but stage is different because you're with the audience, and that's where actually you feel like this is it's all coming together. So it's all necessary, but stage for me is more fun. Yeah.
Great, man. With that, we are coming to an end. But if there is something that you want to say to your fans, your listeners who are watching this right now, what would it be?
Yeah.
What would it take to be like Shah Rule?
I wouldn't say anyone needs to be like me. I think be yourself always. Shout out to everyone who, if you're trying to make it in whatever field, whether it's music or anything, do it with conviction. Do it with put your full hustle into it. Don't listen to anyone. Literally, don't listen to anyone. Like you will learn. You will have to learn from your own mistakes, and maybe you will have to just take the right advice from people who've done it before you. But I think when it comes to your own moves, only you can judge, and you can kind of take your career where you want to take it. You are your biggest enemy and your biggest supporter at the end of the day as well. So go with conviction and do it well, and rule worldwide. Let's go.
That was some great piece of advice for all the people out there.
Yeah.
And with this, Shah Rule, we really appreciate you for
Appreciate
taking your
you,
time
brother.
out
Thank you,
on
man.
a busy Saturday.
Yeah, no, nothing like that.
So, and coming to the Offstage podcast, and
Yes.
we think it would be a really a very in-depth kind of feeling for all your fans and for followers out there.
Yes,
and they
sir.
would have got to know a lot more about you and your backstory,
I appreciate you, man. Thank you for doing this, and we are gonna support always. Like our whole community will support this because it's needed. We need to have these conversations and open up about everything.
Yes, sir. Truly.
Yeah.
So with this, we come to an end of our podcast. We're gonna catch you in the next episode. But if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel for some more action. This is your boy Tony Sebastian, a.k.a. Tony Psycho, signing out. Ba, 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 ba.